Hello, good morning or evening. My name is Raymond Behar, and this is my presentation on the cyber attack life cycle resilience. So, the definition derived from a military model by Lockheed Martin in 2011, the cyber kill chain is a framework that helps security professionals understand and disrupt cyber attacks by breaking them down into stages. This model can help organizations identify and mitigate attacks, fix vulnerabilities, and improve incident response. The cyber kill chain consists of 7 stages, yet recently cybersecurity experts have expanded the kill chain to include 8 phases, which the 8th phase will be discussed in our future slides. Each slide demonstrates a specific goal along the attacker's path, and each stage is required to achieve the next one. Therefore, this model highlights how an attack can affect the overall function of an organization. So, first stage is the reconnaissance phase. In cybersecurity, reconnaissance is the initial phase of a cyber attack where cyber criminals gather information about a target's system vulnerabilities. Cyber criminals use a variety of techniques to gather information during reconnaissance, including uh, on the left here, you can see some examples. Scanning networks. Networks are web application enumeration, gathering network blocks, IP addresses, DNS information, and host information, using whois information, directory info, Amazon S3 buckets, looking at social media accounts for individuals and companies, checking dark web breached accounts for domains in question, and social engineering by calling individuals or the company. So basically, what we're trying to do here is, as we see the variety of techniques that the hackers or cyber criminals use, in the reconnaissance phase, they're trying to gather as much information about a target system vulnerabilities. So what we want to do, we want to limit as much information out there as possible, making it hard for them. We can train users on all forms of social engineering attacks. That would include phishing, pretexting, and baiting. Regular training sessions would be mandated on how to identify, respond to various forms of social engineering. Training users to limit what they post on social media online. This can be done by implementing a clear social media policy, which is the guidelines of the do's and don'ts and best practices. Next, continuous training and educating employees through webinars or online modules. And then security professionals need to inspect network traffic to detect and stop suspicious traffic. This would be intercepting the scanning of the networks, which is done by implementing firewalls, intrusion detection, and prevention systems. Our second stage is the weaponization stage. Attackers use this information gathered during the reconnaissance to create attack vectors tailored to the attack and their goals. This is done by creating a weaponized payload or exploits that will be used to gain access to the target. And then once an attacker has gathered enough information on the target, they begin to strategize to take advantage of those weaknesses found. This could be done by designing new forms of malware, by writing code to develop malicious software in a variety of programming languages, uh, customizing malware to bypass antivirus software protection. This way they can stay undetected. Modifying existing programs to better match the vulnerabilities they are trying to exploit. So there's a variety of existing hacking tools already created. These tools can then be modified to carry out specific vulnerabilities in the victim or company's environment. So the reconnaissance steps also applies. There's not really specific steps on how to stop weaponization. Again, due to the fact there's already tools out there invented. But what we want to do, we want to eliminate known vulnerabilities from the game board by effectively and efficiently patching and updating our softwares, applications, and system operating systems. And then we want to know what vulnerabilities exist by conducting a risk and vulnerability assessment and then implement as many access and security code controls. Basically, we're trying to make it as hard as possible. And then our third stage, our delivery stage. Following the weaponization is the delivery stage where cyber criminals try to infiltrate their target's network, our security teams. Attackers transmit a malicious payload to the target through various means that it can include phishing emails, infected attachments, compromised websites, hacking into a network and exploiting vulnerabilities in an organization's hardware or software, infected USB drives, or malformed browser requests. So here's our delivery prevention steps. You want to employ robust email security measures to filter out malicious attachment and links. You want to protect against perimeter breaches by blocking malicious or risky websites through URL filtering. Provide ongoing education to users on spear phishing, links, unknown emails, risky websites. And you want to gain full visibility into all traffic, including SSL, block high risk applications while extending those protections to your remote devices and your mobile devices as well. Block known exploits, malware, and inbound command and control communications using multiple threat prevention disciplines that include IPS, malware, DNS monitoring, and file and content blocking. So, our fourth stage, the exploitation. After the successfully delivery of malware or other forms of hacking, the next step is exploiting the weakness they uncovered in the previous cyber kill chain phases. At this stage, attackers can now further infiltrate a target's network and learn of additional vulnerabilities that they were unaware of prior to entering. For instance, the attacker may have no access to an organization's database, but after the intrusion, they can see that a database uses an old version, and that version is exposed to a well known vulnerability. And movement is often laterally across the network from one system to another, while continuously spotting more potential entry points along the way. So, our exploitation prevention steps, endpoint malware protection that would include endpoint protection platforms, antivirus solutions, and endpoint monitoring. These solutions can scan files for threats when they enter a network by comparing them to a database or known threats. Host-based intrusion detection and prevention systems. These systems are designed to monitor a network for threats and take action to stop them. And then we have network segmentation, improves network security and functionality while providing precise control over the traffic flow and cybersecurity. Our fifth stage installation tactics begin to intensify as attackers forcefully infiltrate the targeted network, seeking out unprotected security and changing permissions on compromised accounts. So, in the previous escalation phase, the installation of additional malware and cyber weapons are deployed with the targeted network, with the objective to gain additional control of more systems, accounts, and informations. And those strategies can include Trojan horses, access token manipulation, command line interfaces, or backdoors. So, security information ensures the safety and privacy of critical information. Information is security is a broad field that involves physical security, endpoint security, data encryption, and network security. So, security information and event management, software solution that combines log and event data, security alerts, and threat intelligence to provide insights. Privilege separation only gives the necessary privileges to our employees that need to perform their specific tasks. By limiting access rights and dividing system privileges among multiple entities, thus reducing the risk of unauthorized access and data breaches. And then we have strong passwords, usually at least 10 characters with letters both uppercase, lower, numbers, and symbols that do not include personal information or common words. Another one to add to this with multi-factor authentication. Again, using two forms, perhaps a password here, perhaps biometric. Again, making sure the right people have the right access to certain systems and information. Sixth stage, command and control. Attackers have established communication with the compromised system and network. This communication allows the attacker to maintain control, deliver commands, and receive data from compromised systems. This is a critical stage as it enables ongoing interaction and control over the target. Attackers use the successfully installed malware to control devices or identify remotely within the target network. For instance, attackers can use servers to direct computers infected with malware, such as a botnet, to overload a website with traffic, causing distributed denial of service attacks, or instructing compromised systems to carry out cybercrime objectives. This could further network penetration or data exfiltration. There is a variety of ways to detect and block command and control communication. You can do this with firewalls and network monitoring. Tools can detect suspicious network activity. This communication might be with an unfamiliar DNS server or unusual remote host. Zero trust security controls is a combination of access controls, adaptive access controls, network monitoring, micro segmentation, and identity and access management. So, firewall access controls filter traffic based on established security policies that define whether a firewall will allow or deny traffic. Domain name system sinkholes. This is a server that is configured to redirect malicious internet traffic to a controlled IP address. So, our seventh stage, our actions on objectives. This stage occurs after cyber criminals have developed their weapons, they installed them onto the targeted network, and they now have taken control of the system at this point in the stage. This phase significant, signifies the completion of the attacker's primary objective, which could be to disrupt operations, extract valuable information, or monetize the attack through ransom demands. Understanding this stage helps defenders recognize the end goals of an attack and prepare appropriate response strategies to mitigate the impact. So all security tools mentioned should provide a defense that works together seamlessly. All tools combined should complement one another, which can be instrumented in countering one or more links in the cyber kill chain. The main goal is to lock every door and make the malicious actor work hard for each incremental gain and increase the potential of the attack to be detected. We want to proactively hunt for indicators of compromise on the network using threat intelligent tools, block outbound communications to known malicious URLs through URL filtering, monitor and inspect all traffic between zones and enforce user access controls for secure zones. Incident response. Uh, this is the process of handling and mitigating cyber attacks or security breaches. Identify, analyze, and respond to incidents to minimize damage and prevent these future threats. The A stage, monetization. This stage focuses on the cyber criminal's financial gain from the attack. Understanding the monetization stage helps organizations prepare for the financial threats posed by cyber attacks and implement strategies to protect their valuable data from being exploited for profit. For example, attackers might sell stolen data on the dark web or initiate ransom requests, demanding a payload in exchange for not releasing or selling sensitive information, such as a personal or industry secrets. In addition, the rise in cryptocurrency has facilitated the increase in monetizing cyber attacks, since it allows hackers to easily and safely request and receive funds. So here are our prevention steps. Organizations should take steps to identify and neutralize threats as early as possible in the cyber kill chain life cycles in order to minimize both the risk of an attack and the cost of resolving the incident. According to Exabeam, they propose 5 methods an organization can use to stop an attack at each of its strategies that include detect. So what we want to do, we want to determine attempts to scan or penetrate the organization. Deny, stop attacks as they happen. Disrupt, intercept data communications carried out by the attacker and interrupt them. Degrade, create measures that will limit the effectiveness of an attack. And then deceive, mislead an attacker by providing false information or setting up decoy assets. Next, we want to talk about the motives that usually satisfy the mission of attackers. They usually fall into these categories here. Financial gain. This is when they could demand, a ransom for the information that they infiltrated, or sell their information. They could be on the dark web or to another hacker or hacking group. Revenge usually surrounds around disgruntled employees. Hacktivism, political. This could be religious or patriotic. Espionage. This could be, on a specific person or against a company, or for instance, governments against governments. Fame, just for recognition, ingenuity. This is just to be how sneaky they can be, or just based on skills, showing their skills. And next we have applying the cybersecurity life cycle, cybersecurity framework, and methodologies to establish a cybersecurity program. So all of these are in particular to help a specific organization find the risk, protect it, detect it, respond, and recover in a situation in a cyber attack. So it's important to know that the specific details of a cybersecurity program, they depend on each organization's unique business operations, their technology environment, and their specific risk. So you can see here the cybersecurity life cycle revolves around five functions here. We have identify, assess the security risk. We protect, implement security measures, detect, monitor these threats proactively, respond, create a response plan, and then recover, ensure business continuity. The NIST cybersecurity framework, it revolves around these five functions as well. And these are a set of implement guidelines to prioritize risk management. They follow industry cybersecurity standards to maintain the cyber law compliance and utilize best practice to prevent and mitigate risk. So again, let's say for instance, a financial industry, um, they would have to apply by their specific cyber law compliances, their specific risks to their business objectives. For instance, they contain a lot of financial information, debt, credit card information. So they would have to identify those risks, including cyber law compliance or any regulations on how to implement security access controls. And as you can see here, we got the methodologies, quantitative and qualitative. This one, assets and risks receive like a dollar value. Let's say, how much would it cost to implement certain access controls or security controls? So this would be a great methodology framework to use. In qualitative, risks are categories as high, medium, or low. They're easily explained scenarios, are more subjective approaches. So basically, once you're identifying your risks, you could use these methodologies. You can see here, this is very low. This might be a risk that you might pass on, or it's okay. It's an acceptable risk. You have moderate. Maybe a third party could take over here. Cybersecurity insurance. And then your high and very high are critical up here at the top. Basically, those would be immediately. They need immediate attention that would require implementing access controls to fix these threats. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you found this helpful or at least informative. I want to thank you for your time.